Hi guys, and welcome to the Business as Unusual show. It is Wednesday, 4:30. We are back again. So for those of you who are new to the show, my name is Luke. I'm the CEO of Sleeping Giant Media and Giant Campus. We're a digital marketing agency based in the UK, focusing on paid search, SEO and social. And we put this show together to try to share some ideas, some kind of useful hints and tips to help businesses through what is a really challenging time for them. So we've got two amazing guests on the show today, and I'm really excited about talking to them, both focusing around kind of the people space and how and working with organizations on the, obviously a lot of challenging things that have been coming up with given the circumstances of everything going on in the world. So but before we do that, I wanted to just read a quick message, and I'm gonna, if you excuse me, I'm just going to read it because I want to make sure I get the message right, given everything that's going on at the moment, particularly this week of all weeks. So here at Sleeping Giant, we take great pride in creating collaborative, fair and equal environment for all our giants to thrive. It's a key part of who we are as individuals and as a business. The protests around the world following the death of George Floyd on Monday the 25th of May highlight that as a society we still have a very long way to come. Our admiration goes out to those actively fighting the cause, and utmost respect to those who fight the cause every single day of their lives. As individuals and businesses, now is the time to look internally and to use this moment wisely. We live in a digital age, and by sharing information and resources, re-educating, having conversations, and not shying away from the subject, we can all play a part towards making a more educated and ultimately united future. Hi guys, and welcome back. As I said, we've got two fantastic guests on the show today. So without any further ado, I would like to introduce them. We have Anouk and we have Natalie. And firstly, before we get started, I believe it's someone's birthday today. Am I right, Anouk?
Yes, you are right, Luke. I now feel really embarrassed. I'm going to go red.
29 today, but is that right? Something like that?
Again.
Good stuff. Thank you very much for coming on the show on your birthday. That's very kind of you.
No, you're welcome. It's nice to be here. I had one glass of bubbles at lunchtime, so I should be all right to speak coherently this afternoon, and I'll crack on afterwards.
Fantastic. Well, it's good to know. You said the word coherently, so that's always a positive start. So yeah, nice work. And Natalie, obviously, Anouk, we go way back into our sort of holiday extras days before each of us set up in kind of different paths and different businesses. But Natalie, a recent connection through another kind of LinkedIn contact from Amalia in the family business place. So yeah, can you maybe start with a bit of an intro? Tell us a little bit about yourself and the business.
First of all, say happy birthday to Anouk. And basically, I started my business in 2017. I saw there was a bit of a gap in the market for small businesses and HR support. And decided that that's where I wanted to go. So started up the business, had a few clients interested straight away, family friends and things like that. And then it's grown from there. So
amazing.
Been really good. I'm really glad I did it.
Exciting. And Anouk, could you maybe just give us a bit of an intro to yourself as well?
Yeah, sure. So I'm founder of a business called Unleashed.
Sorry, I'm trying to fix a technical issue as we go, and I'm pressing buttons to try to get your sound right because I've just been told that there's two bits of sound. So please do carry on, and I will try to work out why there's two sound things going on. The joys.
Okay.
The joys of this.
The joys of
live.
I
think I might have sorted it. Okay, so guys in chat, if that has sorted it, please do let me know once you've heard that one. But yeah, sorry, carry on with your intro there, Anouk. I think we're sorted.
That's fine. We work with early stage, high growth businesses, so startups and scale ups, mainly in London, but also in Amsterdam. And now we can work with businesses remotely all over the world, actually. So that's what we do. We're a team of 8. Also started in 2017, actually, Natalie, where we also recognised a gap in the market. So we're in the same wavelength there.
Brilliant. And I'm also delighted to see that in chat that we, in fact, have sorted out the sound. So there was a sort of a live fix there. This has been an interesting one. And at once, I'd like at some stage to do like a behind the scenes, what happens pre-show. And as you two are very calm at this point, you obviously know the behind the scenes. It's about 30 seconds before we're supposed to be live. I'm still running around panicking, trying to work out what on earth is going on. So thank you for adding some calm to the show. What are the sort of the key questions, I guess, that are coming up in your worlds at the moment? What are the questions that your clients are asking at the moment? Because it's such a crazy time at the moment, and the sort of the level of kind of challenge that's out there for businesses and for people, on every level is significant. And I just wonder, what are the sort of the main things that you kind of come across? Maybe Anouk, you can kind of kick us off.
Yeah, for us, it's been, I think, beyond the how do we look at the structure of our business during this time, it's been about how do we engage people remotely really well? How do we make sure people are feeling connected, are feeling happy, are feeling that they're not isolated? And also now it's coming into, what do we do when we get back? Are we going back into the office, or are we doing something different? And they're the kinds of conversations that we're having now as well. And supporting other people is important too, because there's been a lot of stress amongst people and businesses, because they've borne the brunt of a lot of this as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And Natalie, what sort of challenges are you kind of hearing from your clients?
Very similar, actually. And I think the main thing we've been focusing on is the mental health side of things. People working remotely, not in the office, very different. And I also work with quite a few manufacturing companies, and they've obviously had a big hit to their businesses. So it's working out what the next steps are going to be now. They furloughed a lot of people, but will the business survive if they start bringing people back? Will we have to make redundancies? We're trying to avoid that, obviously. But it's just making sure that the business can survive it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's a really tough one, and lots of unknowns. And how do you help businesses to try to deal with those unknowns? Because obviously, one of the challenges we find is trying to help our team have some form of certainty in very, very uncertain times. And how any kind of thoughts, advice around how you can kind of support the team in such, when there are so many variables out there?
One of my sorry.
Go
ahead, Natalie. Go.
Natalie, go. And then I forgot my host role, didn't I? Sorry, I've got one job. Damn.
One of our main things that I always say to everyone is communication. So communicate as much as you possibly can straight away. We're all uncertain of things. I've had to learn a lot over the past few months because a furlough wasn't really a thing before. But making sure that we communicate all the time has been really beneficial, and having that strong communication with my clients and also their employees. Yeah. So I'm very linked to all of their employees across the board. So it's been a really interesting time, but also very nice to support people and hear their concerns and try and help them with those concerns.
And I guess any other sort of challenges that they're facing around the mental health, is there a sort of advice, or, and again, I know it's difficult to do it without obviously having a kind of a one-to-one with somebody or businesses, but any almost resources or kind of places they can go for that support?
Yeah, there's a lot right now. I mean, if you're a people person, there are a number now of people groups available. Sanctus do really great coaching for people and non-people as well. They're fantastic all over LinkedIn, brilliant on social media, raising mental health as something that we all have. They've been fantastic at that. Then there's also Spill, which are a brilliant business, which link into Slack. So actually it makes it really accessible, but more in relation to therapy, perhaps, rather than coaching. So as an individual, if you need a bit more than kind of coaching, you can access it really easily. And they're a brilliant business.
Awesome. Right, I'm going to go quickly to another screen. Let me just see if this works. And I'm hoping, and Anouk, we may have you twice in here. Can you say something? No, you should be fine. No, it's all right. No, you're good. You're good. I've just checked my sound levels. And I want to talk about this is a quick clip from our team. This is one of their Zoom conversations, and I think it might just give you an idea of the level of isolation kicking in, perhaps. Oh, hang on. This is a guy making tea for himself. Actually, this is a different one.
Oh.
Which is, I think, pretty cool. I have no idea how he does that, so I'm very interested to know and
so
try to do that. This is our team just losing the plot completely.
Oh my God! What's that?
Luke, I'm sorry, I'm not able to see it.
Okay, that is not very helpful, is it?
Oh.
I was just about to ask, they're losing the plot in terms of crying, but it actually looks like they're laughing, lost the plot, and crying as a result.
Yeah. And just completely... I don't know what. And it was... when I found out what was actually... That's Lee. That's our commercial manager right there. Serious job that guy's got. But yeah, I wanted to lead that in as a kind of... What impact is the remote environment having on people? What is the sort of the differences that you're sort of experiencing, witnessing within the remote environment?
Anouk or Natalie?
That's a very good point. Anouk. Start with Anouk. Sorry, I've forgotten again, haven't I? And this is non-alcoholic. I just want to point out this is non-alcoholic beer, so I can't even blame the alcohol.
Can't blame that. No, that's fine. So I think this is different to just remote working. This is remote working during a pandemic. So you don't have the same opportunities to go out in the same way, or to go to the gym, or to do all the things that you might kind of regularly do, not have the kids at home if you've got kids. So this is really different to what it would be if it was remote in a non-COVID world. It's bringing up lots of people, particularly in relation to the number of roles that they might have to be playing in the work that they're doing. If they're a parent, for example, and if they're not, just they might be living in a shared house with other people and have like to fight for space and silence where it's not there. I think lots of people are thinking about what's important to them kind of when they go back into the world of work, and really focusing on purpose and meaning as well, not necessarily wanting to do the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what's your thoughts on on that? Is it what are the sort of things that people might be doing now that they might be able to kind of take into the sort of the new world whenever we reach that?
I think a lot of businesses have been talking about actually having working from home more regularly now. It was always a unsurety. There was a bit of the trust issue and things like that, but now businesses are actually embracing it and making it seem actually like they can see that it's working quite well. So I think that will be a change in the world completely, because you'll see a lot more people working from home. But I think concerns that people have, I know from speaking to clients and friends, is will the businesses want to just work from home all the time because they want to get back into the workplace? They like the social side of it, the engagement side of it, and the chatting to people and everything. And I know from my own personal experience, having a 3-year-old daughter running around the house whilst trying to do things has been quite difficult. So I think that also has affected people as well, because they're trying to balance everything and they don't want to say no to their child all the time, but they do still need to get work done.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Just to say, guys, in chat, if there's any questions that you have for either Anouk or Natalie, please do put them in. Apologies, there was someone trolling with some bad language, and I also don't know how to remove that as well, as I realised. I was like, I can't get rid of it. So apologies for anybody who read that. It's going to happen, and unfortunately people clearly haven't got enough to deal with right now, other than to get involved and use bad language. But anyway, we march on. What I was going to say actually is, I went back to the office today to do some filming for one of our sort of features, which I'll show you a bit later on. And it was really interesting because, I was craving to be back in the office, but it wasn't the office because there's because actually there's going to be nobody there, or there's going to be so much social distancing. It won't have the same office vibe. And I mean, being really, really honest, I was actually pretty sad being in the office, if I'm honest, because it wasn't the office that I remember, and it wasn't I didn't have a chance to kind of, we wouldn't be able to sort of to do all the kind of the group activities, for quite some time now. And I just wondered any advice that you've got, and again, I'm going to start with Natalie, any advice that you have around, how sort of businesses can kind of deal with, with that particular challenge of wanting that social aspect, but potentially not being able to do that. Is there any kind of conversations you've had around that?
Yes, so we've been talking to a couple of clients about the fact that now you can socialise with 6 people at a social distance, and we might be starting to offer that out to people to meet in a park and actually talk about work, so they're actually interacting with each other face to face, even if it's 2 meters apart, which I think might help a little bit, just to bring people that haven't been into the office at all, to get them face to face again and see how they get on doing that. And then with the manufacturing side of the world, they've been going in, but they've had so many strict things going on that you can't go into the tea room, only one at a time. So that has changed everything. But a lot of them have got spaces outside where you can sit and chat 2 meters apart. So I think that's quite beneficial, just having that space to be able to do it.
And Anouk, so for example, the water cooler conversation, we talk a lot about culture and making sure that we've got a great place to interact, something that again we pride ourselves on with the business that we run. But how does that happen now? Because again, Natalie, you're saying that you can't go into the tea room to when someone else is there. It's how do you provide that kind of the softer skills, the kind of interaction points? Because when you're on Zoom, it's a bit more efficient, isn't it?
Yeah, it's actually a concern of mine, particularly for more junior people in businesses where a lot of their learning is done organically and through osmosis, where if they're not going to be in an office anymore, how do they absorb how we work around here? What kind of discussions we have? How do we involve people? And I think that's a worry, and businesses are really going to have to craft learning very purposefully for people so that they are brought into a meeting when it's not necessary, perhaps. Those water cooler moments happen less frequently. You don't have that same level of connectedness, and you won't, which I think is tough. And I think for businesses that are thinking seriously about having significantly more remote working, they need to then work remote first, even when they're in the office, because otherwise there's still a difference between those in the office and those not in the office, and what the people who aren't in the office will then miss out on. So it's going to be challenging.
Interesting. We have reached, would you believe, the halfway mark. It's the halfway mark. Oh, there's some cheeky little face right there. My guys, creative guys, had little surprises for me every show. So that was a particularly nice one. Can you see the screen now, Natalie? By the way.
No, I still can't. Okay. It's a black screen for me. It's okay though. I'll watch it after.
Yeah, no, okay. And Anouk, if we're doing any of the games, it might just have to be you, and and Natalie, you're just going to have to hope Anouk is awesome at it. Okay, so we'll kind of.
I'm sure she will be. So don't worry.
It's her birthday as well, so
the pressure is on.
So going back to, I've got a couple of questions around sort of the future. What skill sets do you think are going to be needed more in the new world? What are the sort of the things that you might have to look for in potential new employees, given possible changes to the way that we work? And I'll start with Natalie. Sorry, thank you.
I would say digitally, people need a lot of skills, because a lot of things are all online at the moment. I think that's going to be a big part. So computer science sort of roles will be quite up there. And I think that's the main one, really, that digitally people are going to be using a lot of everything online. So I think that's going to be a big one.
Any others, Anouk, that you think that might be, because we've and I might throw a specific one at you, because we've done some planning for our new world. So we're trying to almost reinvent the business, and we're all about the restart-up mentality rather than going back. Let's look about how we go forward. One of the things that we were looking at was the need for almost more sort of presenters, because actually, we're almost having to present more remotely than we've ever had to do. What do you think that almost the skill set required to do video conferencing is? Again, it's a different, I can't do it clearly because I keep pressing the wrong things, but that's also something as a skill set that might be important.
Yeah, I think so. I think the ability to present and communicate well, but particularly the ability to listen well. So if you're having a Zoom conversation, there's nothing worse, for example, than people trying to talk over each other because you can't hear anyone. So there's that taking it in turn, one at a time, listening, being able to write notes, and then having your say and not taking up more voice space than others, for example.
I was reading an article this morning about the impact of remote working, and I think it was saying that gradually people become more homogenous, in the sense that if you were more outspoken in the real world, then gradually you temper that, because there's a much more formal structure to Zooms. So for example, you have to kind of take your turn. I have to kind of go, Anouk, what would you like to say? and then we've had to be more formal with this interview than we would have done in a live environment, because you'd have read the body language to sort of indicate who would be up next. And that's a kind of an interesting thing that I was kind of realizing this morning. Is there any kind of, again, concerns that might change the way that people the way they went into this, how they come out of it?
I think it's a really good thing, particularly for those people who were perhaps more introverted and actually struggled to have their say. Now everyone's having more of an equal voice because they're being asked for their opinion, which I think is actually really important. So we might see performance actually improve in businesses because there is more of a diverse opinion being shared than before, when it was a few main voices.
Yeah, sort of almost the introverts being able to have a say in the conversation.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And it's really important for leaders to be able to structure conversations, and they should be in the real world as well. They should be, I say in the real world, in the non-virtual world. But, the role for leaders is to make sure that everybody's heard, but that happens less whilst Zoom is an opportunity, or Zoom, or other virtual conferencing technologies.
We're not sponsored by Zoom. It's all right, and we're using Skype, and we use Google Hangouts just to add some variety to the to the video conferencing. There's a question in the chat from Amalia Brightly Gillett, and the question it's quite a difficult question. What's the best way for small business owners to start redundancy conversations with people who are currently on furlough? Natalie, do you want to kick that one off, perhaps?
Yeah. So with people that are on furlough, you can still have that conversation with them. So I think inviting them for a meeting over Zoom or any chat base, and speaking to them and just explaining the situation. Obviously, that people are quite understanding at the moment. They can see all over the news what's going on. So it's just being upfront and communicating the information that you need to straight away. And if you can't do it face to face because of the 2 metre distancing rules, it's better to do it over Zoom, and just explaining the situation to them, and explaining that they're going to have to have a bit of a consultation. The redundancy process is starting. They're not necessarily going to be made redundant, but they you want to explain that to them, that it could be a potential there, and then ask if they've got any suggestions on how you can cut funding in any other area instead of making people redundant. They might people working on actually doing the business may actually think of suggestions. That we had a suggestion that cut the cleaners, and the staff will actually do the cleaning. So that can really make a difference and save someone's job. So those sorts of things are really important.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Interesting one. And I know you sort of touched upon it before. You talked about kind of leadership, and I'm intrigued to sort of, and something I find very interesting generally, and something I kind of constantly try to kind of adapt. But how does leadership change in this current environment? Are there any kind of attributes or softer skills that a leader should have more of in the current situation, or need to kind of lean upon more than they maybe historically have done?
Yeah, patience, which actually is really hard, I think, as a business leader, because you're frequently impatient as a leader because you want to move forward. You're quite visionary and you see the future and you want to move. But everybody takes a little bit longer to catch up with you in that regard. And so empathetic leadership, listening to your people, asking lots of questions. The best thing you can do is just ask, taking action. That's what leaders need these days, and actually need to slow down a little bit and focus and listen.
Yeah, how's a good way to encourage people to share that? Because I think another thing, challenge sometimes is that people are almost reluctant to share their honest opinion with their bosses or what have you, in fear of kind of reprisal or something like that. Is there better ways to try to encourage that kind of interaction that you've experienced in the conversations you've had?
Have multiple channels. So have something where people can ask written questions that are anonymous. Have perhaps without seeming formal, but people who are maybe your cultural influencers within the business, that they can represent some questions. Make sure people are comfortable with their managers. It might be like an all hands ask me anything. So as long as you have multiple channels, so that people who have different levels of confidence can ask a question, then that's going to be important. Not one size fits all. That never works.
Fantastic. So that is amazing answers, amazing content, and I feel like I should probably pay you some money for the free consultation, but it's kind of one of the beauties of a live show. That's part of the reason I get loads of free information. So thank you very much for both of you for coming on and doing that. Before we go, what I wanted to do, and I know, Natalie, this is where the technology is going to kind of fail for you, so this is all on you, Anouk. Okay. Natalie, we're going to play a game of heads up, and Anouk is going to have to try to explain to me what she sees. We're going to do this month. We are going to be doing, so let me just jump to this leaderboard. Okay, so the leaderboard has been reset. There's nobody. This is the first one we've done in June, so that's this is a chance to go top of the leaderboard regardless of what score you get. And then we'll play it for the rest of the month and see who will win the amazing limited edition Sleeping Giant media mug. Very, very exciting, I know. So let's see what we can do. Right, I'm going to go to Blockbuster Movies. Here we go. Are we ready, Anouk? You ready for this?
Oh, yes, as long as they're not too modern.
Okay. It's all right. Well,
I'm old.
but if you can skip them as well. You can skip them because, again, I probably won't know them because I'm also slightly old. But older than you, definitely, Anouk. That's all I'm going to say. Right, here we go. Okay.
Flies an animal and he comes back. Big light in the sky with his symbol.
Batman Returns.
Yes. Not human.
Alien.
No. Mechanical.
Machine. iRobot.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, is it?
Yes. Pass. A little pig.
Babe.
And he goes into the city. Yes. Lovers in Sweet Verona.
Oh, Romeo and Juliet.
Yes.
Oh my God, this is good.
The sound when something jumps into your inbox.
Ding.
What is it? No, sorry, that wasn't actually the sound. It was you've got mail, but I couldn't.
That is impressive. We've got 4. Everybody, check that out. 4.
Well done, guys.
So
is that a good
that's
score?
pretty good. So last month's winner got it with 5, and that was animals. And I think animals is probably the easier one. So I think that's a pretty solid score. So fingers crossed for the rest of the month, guys. You might get yourselves a limited edition Sleeping Giant media mug. So and I think we've given the guys in brand and marketing some opportunities to edit me shouting "babe, babe, babe" like multiple times. So that's going to be good. I'm looking forward to see that clip show. Alex, Danny, and Amber, who enjoy just taking all the bits that go wrong from my show, kind of compiling it into into kind of one awesome review of that. So guys, it's been incredible. It's been really, really useful. Thank you very much for the ideas and the bits that you wanted to share. Before we go, were there any other businesses that you wanted to shout out? I know you mentioned a couple there. Were there any, Natalie, that you wanted to sort of shout out and for doing some particularly good stuff that they've been pushing out?
I think Redico have been great at the moment. Their MD has been having chats with everybody to make sure they're all okay and keeping them up to date with everything going on. So shout out to Redico.
Good work. We shall mention them in the comments. But again, thanks very much, Anouk. Enjoy the rest of your birthday. Go and get some more. Was it champagne? Was it champagne? I hope it's champagne.
I said Prosecco, but I'm going to go with champagne.
Yes.
Let's do champagne.
Quite right. Well, thanks again for coming on. Guys, that is it from us today. We will be back again on Friday. I am going to be interviewing Carl Sakis from America. He's been doing some amazing content. We're working with agencies and we've done some similar stuff around what we're calling the revenue trajectory curves, but also understanding the change curve. So we are going to be comparing curves. That sounds odd, but it's going to be interesting. So if you're free on Friday at 4:30, please do tune in for that. Should be a really good show. So that is it from us. I hope you enjoyed it. Please do subscribe to the channel, share the information, and hopefully you've enjoyed the content, and we'll see you again on Friday.